Hey everyone, this is Steve Rosenberg with Mynd Property Management, and I'm joined today with Scott Mazzuca, who is the portfolio manager in our Portland Metro division of Mynd. Scott, thank you for joining me today. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
So what I want to talk about today is we all know that there's a lot more regulations that are coming down the pipeline in multiple cities and states, Portland obviously being one of them. What are some of the increased regulations that you're seeing in the Portland metro area, in Portland and in general that you're seeing? And is it getting tighter or is it getting looser in your opinion? And if you can give us just an overview on that, that'd be great.
Yeah, that's a good question. And I think it's what's getting a lot of media attention out here in Portland, Oregon is some of the bigger items such as rent control and maybe the no-cause evictions. These are a little bit more heavily talked about, a little bit more publicized. But what a lot of people don't realize is how regulated the day-to-day processes, are really just the day-to-day of property management operations have become. Just a quick example, for instance, you take something as simple as a rent increase. See, we're not even talking about the fixed term lease and all of some of those changes. The application process now is becoming more complicated, but really just forget that for now and take something as simple as a rent increase. Here's just an example of some of the rules within the city of Portland's limits. Number one, you have to have at least 90 days notice.
Okay.
Number two, you have to, on the rent increase form, it has to have the existing rent, the new rent, the difference, or basically the rent increase, and it also has to show the percentage. You also has to have a certain amount of language on there that educates people of some certain websites to go to. You have to include a veteran resource now. And there's also a 3-page document that educates tenants on the new relocation laws. And so you're looking at a simple rent increase that is so thick now that I actually have to put 2 stamps on the envelope to mail it out. I mean,
that says a lot right there. That tells me a lot.
That's wow. a lot of information. But the biggest thing I would emphasize, it's not so much the extra administrative work. It's not so much that, oh my God, we're killing trees. The really big item that's important for our investors out there to know is that there's a really big stick. If you miss a step and you forget to put the rent increase percentage, for instance, the rent increase will be thrown out. It's actually defective. And you could be sued by a tenant attorney for, in the city of Portland, so it would be relocation costs, which for, I think, a 2-bedroom is $4,200, 3 months rent, and attorney fees. So if you were negligent and just literally had a simple administrative error, you could get sued for $10,000 to $15,000, and there's no winning. You're either, the code is clear, you either did this or you didn't.
Wow. Are there companies out there that help you do this? Or, I mean, I know that there's organizations that help the tenant, that help the resident. Are there organizations that help if I'm just a landlord that I own one property and I want to do this, how would I know all these processes? I mean, it seems like pretty in-depth to know this on my own.
As an investor over 20 years, and I self-managed for many years when I was running my own business, I just don't think it can be done anymore to really, it's just too risky. So you really need some outside expertise. That would be a real estate attorney that you could engage, or a very good property management firm that is, that's what they do for a living. They've got the business processes and the day-to-day knowledge, and they can take over that risk for you.
I mean, it almost seems like they're making it very, in my opinion, very lopsided in the sense that it's harder and harder for an investor to run their business. Definitely not passive, that's for sure. It doesn't sound like it, unless I'm missing something. But for the nuances and things that you have to know, you're almost set up for failure to try to do it on your own, or there's so many loopholes that even if your perception was that you were saving money by not hiring a professional management company or attorney or something like that, what you would lose if you do it wrong, and it sounds like there are high probabilities that you will from all the things that you just said. I'm sure that's the tip of the iceberg. It seems like all that you could lose is way above and beyond what your perception of what you're saving by not just hiring a professional to handle it for you. Is that right, or am I missing something?
No, you're exactly right. It's not an exaggeration. The laws now have been tilted so heavily in favor of the tenant, and they put a really large stick for the property owners. And I think the politicians have done that with good intention, right? They're trying to, in their mind, level the playing field, but I don't perceive it that way. I think they've made it. I just don't think it's a level playing field, and I think they've added a lot of risk to landowners. But that's okay. There's a lot of industries that become more and more regulated over time, and as a business owner, you just have to adopt.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, ultimately, it makes sense to own real estate, and you just have to deal with the situation. And again, sometimes I'm sure that there's the outliers that probably, really shouldn't be landlords, should not be in this industry because they probably do a lot of things that they're stopping. I mean, it's obviously, we all know, we hear the stories and we know that. So I understand, like you said, I understand the reasoning. The challenge I have is that for someone who's doing nothing wrong, you're penalized with everyone else. You're thrown into that same boat and having to deal with this, that, essentially as a business owner owning a rental property, it's there to make money. It's a revenue base for me. And so that revenue, that the difference between what I'm expenses and what my income is, that margin gets smaller. So yeah, I agree. It just makes sense to really think about who's running your business. Sometimes you're not the best person suited to run a business, and based on all this information, that may be the case. And again, you just got to weigh that out. And I think if people had the opportunity to talk to you and just kind of pick your brain, I mean, you're obviously a wealth of knowledge. If somebody does want to get a hold of you and talk to you about this, even if not even to manage the properties, but just to talk to you about all this, how would they do that?
The best way to do that would be to go to mind.co website. That's MYND. From there, they can navigate to the Oregon part of the website, and I'm the portfolio manager of the state of Oregon. My contact information will be there.
That's great. And if you'd like to join our exclusive Facebook group, it's called the Mastermind Real Estate Investment Club, and it's MYND, Mastermind Real Estate Investment Club. And there you'll get to engage with a lot of investors, both new, experienced, talking about these kinds of things going on all over the country, and you'll be able to get firsthand knowledge. And again, it is an exclusive group. Also, we do have a podcast show. The podcast show is called The Mindful Investor. Comes out every Friday on iTunes, Spotify, and all other channels. And there you'll hear from top level investors, as well as other people just like you and myself that are out there doing it, and talk about not only their wins, but their challenges and how they overcome those. So make sure you like and subscribe to that as well. And on behalf of Scott and myself, I'd like to thank you for watching. See you next time. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you'd like to keep the conversation going, join our Facebook group.